Hey, hi everyone. This is Sachin, and I will be going to s- present something in front of you today. And we'll be starting exactly at 8. So I think a few more people would join by then. And the Q&A for this webinar is enabled. If you guys have any questions, if you want to discuss anything, the Q&A and chat option is always available there for you. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. You can let me know through the chat. Correct. It's already past 8. Let's start with the today's agenda. So, as the title suggests, that we will be going through the tool which can help you connect and analyze multiple channels at the same time. So, our agenda for today would be we would go through the tool which is Terno AI, what exactly it is, how it works, and what exactly is the problem with today's multi-channel analytics, and how do people analyze today using the multiple channels at the place, and what exactly is the real questions businesses ask, which the today's process is not able to uh, answer properly, and how Turno answers us. Then we would go through a few demos of how Turno was able to uh, do the same thing. and multiple channels. Just let me just start stream. Give me a moment. Right. Okay. Yeah. So about me, I work at Terno. I am leading the product strategy and roadmap. I define what and how the product should look, what exactly should be there in the product. And I am also working with a lot of enterprise customers at Terno. I'm helping them solving their analytics problem, their data science problem using Terno AI. So what exactly is Terno AI? Terno AI is simply, in a single term, Terno AI is your AI data scientist. So what our data scientist can do, Terno can do as well, right? It basically learns and understand your data sources. You just have to connect your data sources, be it any database or any file system or any of custom connectors. For example, which we would see today is Google Analytics or Google Ads, etc. And it learns from the data, it learns from the patterns, it learns from how you utilize it. And after understanding your data sources and your interaction, it basically gives a very fruitful result in terms of data analysis and data science work. How exactly you use it? It You ask a very simple plain English query. For example, if you want to know that what was my total revenue today, so instead of going to the multiple sources, you would go to, let's say, Google Analytics, and then you would go to your team and ask for the actual data, because Google Analytics sometimes might be wrong, might be tracking wrong, or might be tracking a little late. So you might write an SQL query, and your team might write an SQL query and come up with a dashboard to you. Instead of doing that back and forth, you can simply go to Turno and ask your questions in plain English. And Turno would respond you in the response you have asked, or a generic response which everyone usually likes. Or you can also ask Turno to create a full-fledged report or dashboard if you want to deep dive into the data, right? So all in all, basically, everyone, both tech and non-tech teams, if your manager wants to know something, and like instead you have a lot of work and you are from the tech team, you can ask your manager to go to utilize this tool. You can set it up for your non-tech team so that they don't come to you for every other use case, right? Now, what all you can connect to the Turno. So Turno can be connected to multiple types of data sources, be it ERPs, be it databases, be it data warehouses like Database, etc., be it any data lakes or any type of file format as well. Turno also supports MCPs. So let's say if anything is not available uh, by default in the Turno, you can always you can always add an MCP and go ahead with your data sources. For example, if you want to utilize Google Ads, so Google Ads connector will be available very soon. But at the same time, for example, if you are using any custom CRM tool, and for that either you can request us to build a tool, but instead you can simply develop a MCP tool and expose it to the terminal, right? But at the same time, when you are sharing these sensitive information with Terno, how does Terno make sure that we are taking care of your schema and what type of access controls are there? So always this anxiety comes up when we introduce any AI tool, that what exactly is being shared to whom? To the Terno, to the LLMs, to the is the LLM hosted? Are we using any external LLM? What exactly is happening, right? So to ensure the safety, to ensure the security, what we developed in house is we call SQL sheet. So what happens that everything you write, every prompt you give to Terno first goes through the SQL sheet. Now, what SQL Shield ensures is that SQL Shield gives on read-only access to the terminal. All right, and we by default require only read-only access. So, for example, if you are connecting your database, right? So we do not want an access or to write to your database. Instead, we just require a read-only access to your database. So whenever you are adding a data source to any AI tool, make sure that you do not give the right access. And SQL Shield on top of that, make sure that Terno is not able to write to any of your data source. All right. Then what happens that any of your data is not shared. So your data remains on your at your place until unless it's a file. If you are uploading a file, then obviously the data is shared. But if you are connecting a hosted data source, for example, data warehouse or any database, right? Or for example, Analytics, etc. So only your schema is being shared with the terminal, and SQL Shield ensures that. How it ensures that? We never crawl the data. We only understand the schema, and using that schema, we do the analysis. The query would always be run on your machine, and the result would be displayed to you. All of the connections are encrypted. Your query will be executed inside your personal sandbox. So every user get their own private sandbox, and your data never leaves that sandbox. All right. So, and on top of that, for the teams, we also have role-based access controls, and that also works at the row level. So, if you want to, for example, if you want to restrict some specific rows in the same table to what particular team, for example, there is an employee's data, and you want people to access data only of their teams. For example, uh, if you are in a development team and you do not want the developers to see the testers or the manager's profile, what you can do is you can simply write a row level rule that if the user belongs to this category or this department, they should only be allowed to query that department, right? So there are a number of controls we have added to the Terno: column level, row level, and even groups, etc. Now, as we first talked about the privacy and security, because that is the most important thing when we explore any data analysis or data science tool. Let's come back to what exactly is Terno AI. So Terno AI performs the full analytics workflow on your data. So you can ask it to generate the reports. You can ask a very simple question like what was the today's revenue, what were the top products today which we sold, etc., etc. And you can also utilize Terno to do advanced machine learning modeling. So, for example, if you want to, if you figure out that there is some spam is incoming, all right, or people are, for example, there is a tool or your product is something which people are spamming, and you want a model to figure out which request is a spam and which request is the actual request which you would like to entertain. You can connect your data sources to the Terno and train a machine learning model on top of that, only using natural English language. All right. So you do not need much expertise to utilize that. You do not need to go to your uh, machine learning team to do that. You can simply do all of that analysis here only. All right. Okay. Now, how Turno works. So, as I explained, that this is the Turno. For example, you take this as your interface. What you need to do, you just have to drop your connector and the question. So for example, here we are taking the example of the files. So if you want to do any analysis over the file, you have a CSV with you or any Excel or PDF file, and you want to question from that, you can do that as well. You can simply attach your file or multiple files, and you can ask Turno to consolidate and analyze that file. I will also try to show you a use case around that, so it can you can feel like what I'm trying to uh, explain. So what happens behind the scene is that Turno interacts with the data. Turno utilize uh, its capabilities to write a code which can help to answer your question. All right, and then that generated code is being run inside your private sandbox. All right, and before generating the data, before sending it to LLM, there is a layer which we call knowledge and security layer, and the security layer is basically a part of SQL Shield. And the knowledge layer again, for example, if we take an example of a huge data set, how an LLM would understand that, right? So the knowledge layer basically helps to figure out what is the relevant knowledge according to the question and sends that knowledge to the LLM to generate the most appropriate result or appropriate code. And if it requires any code execution, it runs in your sandbox, and then it answers back to the user. Now, coming to the today's title, which is the multi-channel analytics problem, right? So what happens that data is everywhere, right? If we start a company or if we join a company, so you will have analytical tools like Google Analytics, Mixpanel, etc. Then you will have ERP system. If the company is, for example, if the company is into manufacturing, etc., then there are very high chances that they would have an ERP system, and everyone utilizes CRM as well, right? If the company has a website or any online shopping, e-commerce, etc., they would surely have a database as well to for their applications. Then we utilizes ads as well to get some traffic. Or for example, we have emails, we have files, different type of files, which basically contains some part of data, our exports from different places, right? So what happens when we want to ask a question? When we want to ask a question, we have to go separately to different places. For example, if we want to check what was the revenue today or maybe the last 30 days, the first thing which we would go to our Google Analytics, or maybe if you are utilizing any dashboarding tool, any BI tool, etc., you might go there as well. But that only answers to a very limited knowledge, right? So the question which remains unanswered is that why did revenue change? Right? You go to your analytical tool, you go to your dashboard, and you see that there is a drip in the revenue, or there is a drip in any of the parameter, for example, total number of sales, for example, total number of users or a particular product. But why did that happen? That nobody is answers. To figure that out, to figure that out, we do the deep analysis, right? When we ask about the deep analysis, nobody wants to know that show me the SQL and I would run it on my database and then figure out and do the multiple analysis here and there. The businesses simply ask that why did the revenue fail? Which campaigns actually generated the profit if there is a profit? I would always want to know, for example, if there is a good profit I'm seeing in recent days without changing anything on my product, then I would like to know the sources. And if the sources are from the ads, I would like to know which campaign performed well, right? And as you see the funnel here, that first I figured out that my profit was higher. Then I tried to figure out what exactly we changed in the product, and then we realized there was no change in the product. So we already analyzed something, and then we go to the ads. We check our session that okay, the source of the number of users and the sales happening is the ads, and it might be the Google ads, it might be the Meta ads, it might be LinkedIn ads, right? And then we individually go to their ads platform and download the data that which campaign helped us to gain more profit. So you see the analysis, the part of analysis which is happening. You first realized, you first saw the anomaly, then you figured out what caused the anomaly, then you figured out a tool, basically Google Ads or Meta Ads, etc. And then you went to that platform to check what performed well, right? So it it involves multiple steps. So we'll discuss that in the next slide. But these are the type of questions businesses ask. Now, what happens that if you want to analyze that what exactly happened, why did the revenue went down, or why did the CAC increased, why the profit was high, etc., etc. What would happen? The C-suite people would ask the team to figure that out. Now, what would the team do? The team would go to individual tools. They would export the results. They would export the CSV of whatever timeline it requires. And then they will manually consolidate that data in the Excel. They would try to join the tables. Or if let's say you want to involve the tech team, what they can do is they would do all of the data analysis and data science work manually, right? And then they would come up with the report. And there are very high chances that the report does not answer the data. The dashboard does not answer the data uh, which was asked by your senior, by your manager, right? So what would happen then? The again cycle would repeat. The Terno solves this problem. How it solves the problem? It basically connects all of your data sources together. All right. It consolidates. It can basically go through each of your data sources. Here I am taking an example of four data sources only, but it is not limited to that. You can connect your CRMs as well. You can connect your ERP systems as well. You can upload the files as well. For example, you exported something from your BI tool, etc. And then you take that report, you upload it to Turno and ask Turno to figure out that I see an anomaly there. And can you figure out the reason behind it? What has exactly happened at that time? So, to showcase, before taking an example use case, I would like to take you through the interface of Terno. All right, let me reshare my screen. Let me reshare my screen. And all right, okay. So here, here. So when you the flow would be like this, that you come to the website and you log in, and after logging in, you will be redirected to your this URL. All right. I'm already logged in, and these are the organization I have created so far. So what I'll do, I'll showcase you an existing example of how the flow would look like. For example, if I click on the start chat and I would simply land here. Here you can see that I have already connected a few data sources. Right? There is a SQLite data source which I've connected. There is then global data which I connected for my usual analysis and showcasing the demo. Odoo is basically an ERP system which we connected and imported some sample data so that we can showcase some use cases. So in the demo, I'm not allowed to add new data sources because I'm not the admin of this organization, but it was shared with me. But you can see in my other organization, which called SAC.org, I'm allowed to add the data sources, right? So this is how all of the privacy and security control works from the enterprise point of view. But again, let's come back to the let's get back to the analysis which I wanted to show, right? So here you can see that I have uploaded an Excel sheet and I asked Arno to analyze that, to help me analyze the pattern, what exactly is happening, right? So there was a user called Jeffrey Kelly in my database, and the user wanted to like I just wanted to know the pattern because this user gave me the maximum revenue, right? So what I did, I asked Arno to export this data source, right? If I like previously I asked Arno to generate this sales sheet. All right. Now the sheet looks like this. And you can see that the Terno generated the code and executed that in your sandbox to give the analysis. And the analysis says that this is the time frame which the Terno analysis analyzed. And in this time, within this time frame, there was 22 orders. This was the mean value, and this was the minimum value and maximum value by the of the orders. You can see the sales by order state, which was sent, done, sale, cancel, draft. These are so the good part is the good part which we discussed about the knowledge layer, right? About the knowledge layer. So this is where the knowledge comes into play. So here you can consider that what is sent and what is done. These two statuses are kind of self-explanatory, but at the same time, within the industry, this can be within the company, this can mean something else as well, right? So using the knowledge layer, you can add that knowledge on top of that, that this is what you consider sent and this is what you consider done, right? So these were the monthly sales trend. And you can see that it also Turner also added some tables which basically shows uh, what happened in different months, how what was the amount for which Jeffrey Kelly purchased, right? It also generated some charts to showcase and present the data better. And these are the monthly trends for Jeffrey Kelly, right? And Turno also suggests what you can ask next, right? This is actually very important and cool thing that in general, if you get a report from a BI tool, you do not get any suggestions with that, right? Any suggestions as in key you might get suggestions on what to do from this report, but what else and how much you can deep dive into that, right? So here, as you can see that I can ask, even though this is a very small data set, this is simply a purchase record of a user. Let's try if we can ask, can you identify which state contributed most to the sales increase in March 2025? Let's see if this sheet has the data and if Turner can utilize that and answer it. So here Turner is trying to figure out, it is generating thought. Also, in the meantime, if the audience allows and if I go into the technical details, so the another question which we generally get is that how do we verify that what generate Turno is generating is correct, right? So the Turno basically works in multiple thoughts, right? It verifies automatically by matching the output with the actual question. And because it is getting the data from your data sources and not generating and hallucinating by itself, the data is always correct, right? Because it is getting it from your data sources. So what is there inside the data source? It would be here as well. So now you can see that Turner tried to answer. So states contributing most to the sales increase in March 2025. What happened? So the biggest positive contributor to the Mars was scent. Okay, so the scent is the state of the sale, right? So it was not a very fruitful question because of the limited data. But if we connect an organization data, obviously it would be very helpful. Now, for example, if I take another example, right? I have given a sample data set of HR, right? And I simply asked Turner to analyze the sheet and give me the insight what exactly is there, or if I can utilize this data in any manner, right? So as you can see, let me just disable the technical details I have enabled for myself. So you can see that it tried to figure out. So there is a subsheet with name employee master, point in time employee extract, ages tenure calculated as of 30 July, attendance leave, etc., etc. So this is the summary that this is the area which Turno checked, and these are the KPIs Turno could figure out. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, and approximately more than 20 KPIs Turno was able to figure out from this data, right? And what was the tables it was able to figure out? There, Turno was able to figure out employee summary by department, right? HR department has these many employees, these many are active, and these are the average tenure of their retention, and few more things as you can see, right? So now moving to the multiple channel analytics, back to the multiple channel analytics after showcasing the interface. So today we basically I tried to get a real life data, right? So let me just share that one. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible again. So now as you can see that I have blurred some of the part to maintain the privacy of an organization, a sample organization, which basically gave us some data, and thanks to that organization, so that we could make it more and more relatable for the users, for our audience. So as you can see, I asked Anu a very detailed question that analyze cross-channel performance for the last 30 days using GA4, Google Ads, and the database. All right. And I asked 5 questions to answer. Total user, session, engaged session, conversion, etc. from the GA4. Google Ads related question, database related question, and then their channel-wise comparison. Now the channel-wise comparison can be from the database and can be from the Google Analytics as well. The Turno would automatically figure out the Turno would automatically figure out what is the relevant one, right? And then some key insights and recommended actions. And later on, we would do some more analysis on that part, which the result would come, and then we can ask Turno to deep dive into that. What exactly is the answer for that? So Turner generated the answer that cross-channel performance dashboard, right? So it generated the KPI summary from the GA4. It tried to answer the very first question, which we asked from the GA4. All right. So from the GA4, these are the total number of users, total number of sessions, engaged sessions, and you can see the revenue as well. So it was able to fetch the data from the GA4, and then in the same screen you can get the ads performance as well, right? Sometimes what happens that what ads report is a very highly inflated data to you, all right, because they want to showcase that the maximum revenue you are getting is from the particular ad agency. For example, if it is uh, a popular social media ad, so that social media company would always try to showcase that the revenue you are getting, the maximum part is coming from them. So the conversion value in the ads is always very different than the analytic platform. And sometimes what happens that the database says something else. The database says something else, right? So it gets the data from the database as well on the same dashboard. Now Turner was able to generate this whole dashboard. This whole dashboard was generated simply using a single prompt. The prompt which I gave, that analyze all of this thing, show me all of these 5 things, and show everything in a single dashboard, right? By the time, after using it for a while, obviously it would learn your pattern and it would try to figure out how exactly you like your data to be presented, and it would automatically be generating those patterns. But till that time, I'm giving Turno some hints how to present it. So as I gave it a hint that everything Turno needs to put it into a single dashboard. So you can see it generated a very well planted dashboard, which the typical BI teams take months or weeks to generate or to build, right, at a single glance. Now you can see the GA4 data is there, right? the ads spent are there, and the database data is also there in a single dashboard. You can see this the second question which we asked, the channel session and conversions. You can see that how organic paid search, organic traffic, paid search traffic, direct traffic, and referrals, email, and social are contributing to the sessions. You can see that how revenue, the revenue which we can see in the Google Analytics is contributing to the uh, i- is contributing, and what exactly are the parts by channel, right? You can see which Google Ads campaign are performing better, right, at a single glance. Going further, going down, it's showcased that the daily funnel trend, right? It showcased that what exactly is the trend of the sales. Then it showcased the revenue from the DB as well. So you can see that there is a lot of anomaly between the same date. You can see that Google Analytics was showing something else, and then DB is showing something else. So you can take the help. Basically, this data was intendedly manipulated a bit to showcase the use case, and you can deep dive into it to figure out what exactly happened. And uh, you can reconcile, you can ask Turner to reconcile, you can ask Turner to match it with the multiple sources and verify which one is reporting correct. Because, for example, there was this organization which where and they were utilizing Turno as well. So what they were doing is that their Google Analytics was showing a very high revenue, but at the same time they were not seeing that in the database in the transactions. So what happened that they realized, after a while they realized that they introduced something in their coupon system, and the Google Analytics was tracking the pre-coupon value, and the data bus was telling the truth, right? So they were able to figure out a technical bug through this report. Otherwise, what would have happened, because they were issuing a very low value coupons, for example, if the like for example like 5%, 2%, so they might end up considering it as a um, this thing gateway fee. They might end up considering it something else, right? So with the help of dashboard, because they could see the difference in it, they asked for the Turno to reconcile and showcase the reason behind it, what exactly is happening. Because ideally what we should track in the Google Analytics is the actual price a user is paying, right? So this is the very good example. Sorry. Now you can see that I have asked No to give me some insights and recommended actions as well, right? So here you can see that Direct was the largest GA4 channel with the maximum sessions. Then paid search contributed, I think, the maximum to the revenue, right? And so channel-wise insight is there. Then it also recommended some actions that ads conversion differ materially from the GA4 paid search conversion, which is expected if attribution models and events differ, but should be monitored, right? So these type of analysis takes a lot of manual effort, takes a lot of experts to be involved, right? And this was an example of just 30 days. So this is a very limiting example, but in the real life, when we speak to our customers who are already using it, uh, it basically gives a very good result and turns out to be very beneficial for them. All right, so this was about today, and this was about today. If there are any questions, you can we can go ahead with the questions. I can't see some numbers. Is that a fault of Turno? Where numbers? So Rudy, the thing is that I have blurred, I have morphed some of the numbers. You can see if you're talking about these. So this basically I edited the screenshots to maintain the privacy and security of the company, which allowed us to share some of the data. Right. Thank you for understanding. What are the charges? So initially, this tool is free. You on the sign up, you get $10, which are more than enough to do the initial analysis or using the files, etc. And but when if you try to use it for the enterprise, then you will end up exhausting your limits. In that case, you can always reach out to us, and the people who are coming through the webinar always will be entertained and get the best value out of it. We can discuss the pricing over the email. You can drop us an email at teachers@turner.ai. Hi, Hiraj, you have raised your hand. Would you like to drop your question in the chat? What difference Raj Terno AI has over doing the same analytics using any LLMs like ChatGPT? Yeah, sure. So see, behind the scene, behind the scene, Terno also utilizes LLM, right? It is not like that we are using our own LLM. So for example, ChatGPT, you won't be able to connect your databases. You won't be able to create a knowledge layer there separately around your data sources. What happens in case of Turno, what happens that whole knowledge layer is not just limited to a paragraph, is not just limited to a few prompts. What happens that Turno automatically keeps on generating the knowledge about the schema. The schema was never designed for the LLMs, right? If you for example, if I talk a little bit of technicalities behind it, the schema was always designed according to the developers and according to the services where we are using the database, right? But it was never designed for the LLMs to do the analytics. So what we lack there is the context. Now, for example, I gave an early example of that simple sheet, right? So there were multiple state of the order. It was sent and it was done. Now, sent and done are very close, and they have a very generic meaning of them that LLM would try to understand. But at the same time, if it get confused, how would you explain that part, right? How would you differentiate between them? So for that, you can utilize the knowledge layer. And in the knowledge layer, I explained about the SQL Shield as well. So SQL Shield, when it comes to the databases, when it comes to the enterprise data, be it in the files, be it in any form of existing tool like analytics, CRM, etc. So we have to make sure that our data is secure, right? So we follow those guidelines and we provide a lot of uh, security related things. Your schema is actually so your schema carries actual table names, right? But in the knowledge layer, we also give an option to update those table names. So once you have updated those table names and column names, your real schema is never shared with the LLM, but your query would be executed. So we are maintaining that layer as well. And then there are n number of more things which we are considering and which we have considered so far from the security and privacy point of view, right? So yes, you can get it done from the LLMs, but what you would lack, to answer your question, what would you lack there is the context limit and the multiple channels, the multiple channel connections, for example, databases, data warehouses, data lakes, and the privacy and security, and the tailor-made presentation as well. For example, this dashboard, I think it would take a lot of time to even come close to it using the ChatGPT. Yeah, we can have rags, and it is not possible to put. Is it not possible to put database in vector database form and use LLMs to generate interesting analytics? Uh, See. Your database, obviously you can have RAG, but is it not possible to put database in? Yeah, it is possible, but why exactly you would like to use the vector database? A vector database is having a different purpose. I I might be missing something in your question. All right. I think Hiraj, if your question is not answered, you can send us an email and we would like to discuss it in detail there. All right. So, any more questions? Put database in drag and get alarm generate, customize analytics. Yes, you can do that, but why would you put all of your database in drag? I mean, if you take care of the privacy and security, for example, in case of Terno, so when I showcased a web interface to you, a lot of enterprise have an issue with that as well, because at the end of the day, the interface, this web version runs on our server. So Terno basically gives you an option to download the Terno on your machine. So if you want to give that a try, you can always, if you have a Mac machine, you can always go to the website and download it. If you have a Windows machine, you need to wait, I think, for a week or so. You can sign up for that link, which you would receive in your inbox within a week or so. The Windows application is going to be released soon. So it is mainly about the no, 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 no. Internal, the data goes out. No, no. Internal, the data does not go out. Internal data remains inside your sandbox, and your sandbox cannot be accessed by any tool. And that is why when it comes to the desktop app, even uh, like everything, every code and everything, it remains on your machine. All right. Thank you, Hiraj. That was a very good question. And I would like to answer more of it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. That was my time. And if you have any more questions, you can always, do you provide any API also? Yes, we provide an API. You can request the access. We provide an API to the Turno DVI layer, not the whole Turno. You can request for the access by dropping an email to us, and we would like to explain the details there and send you the docs and etc. Is it not on your website? The Turno DBI is not yet on the website. This, let me check. Okay. It, there must be a GitHub link. Yeah, it is not on the website. You can drop me an email either on this reach email, or either you can drop directly to me, Sachin@turno.ai, and I would like to help you out with this. Thank you, Abhishek. All right. Thank you everyone for joining the session. Uh, I'm going to end the meeting for you all. The recording and everything must be available on the YouTube and everywhere on the CloudX Lab and uh, Terno's website. Thank you for joining. Have a good night. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Abhishek.